Welcome to my library that is about to become a little bit smaller. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which is a fun one in my opinion, one that I've actually been looking forward to doing for the last couple weeks, and that is unhauling books. We're gonna go through my bookshelves, we're gonna find books that I no longer have the desire to read, or just books that don't really align with the type of books that I like, because I feel like a lot of the books, specifically romance, which is probably where the majority of them are gonna come from, I bought near the beginning of my reading journey back in 2022, 2023. And at that point in time, I just kind of read my first couple romance books. They had smut. I assumed all romance books had smut. I know that's maybe a dumb assumption, but I was not a reader growing up. I actually used to hate reading. So when I read my first romance book of my entire life and it had smut, and then the next one did, and then the next one did, I kind of just assumed that was the normal. And now that I'm years into my reading journey, I have discovered that I'm not a huge fan of smut, and I actually prefer little to none. So I feel like there's a good amount of books on my TBR on the romance side that just don't align with what I'm ever gonna want to read based on that, and also just some that I've just lost interest in, don't think I'll ever pick up. And I'm sure there's some on this side that we'll also get rid of too, but I feel like the majority of them are gonna come from this side of my shelves. So anyways, with that being said, we're gonna move my chair out of the way because we can't even get to like a good portion of the books, and then we're gonna head on back and we're gonna start grabbing some books and going through them and deciding what the heck I'm gonna get rid of. So let's go. Okay, I thought we would start on my fantasy mystery thriller section because again, I think the majority of the books are gonna come from the romance side, so I thought I'd start easy on myself. Honestly, just right off the bat, nothing will be coming off this shelf, my Harry Potter shelf. Also, don't think I'm gonna be taking anything off this shelf because these are all right here fantasy books that are like pretty high on my TBR, pretty anticipated, ones that I'm really looking forward to reading. And then this is my Sarah J Maas shelf, so nothing will be coming from there either. So that was pretty quick and simple and easy. As for this one, this is all books that I've read. Okay. I do actually think I'm gonna take one book off that shelf, and that is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. This was a book club book for my book club with just my sister and my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law picked this, and I ended up only reading like 2 or 3 chapters, maybe a little more, but I did not get much into this before I ended up DNFing it because it is really hard to read. You're reading really kind of gruesome and in detail details about stuff like self-harm and stuff like that, and there's no trigger warning for this book. Though I didn't think that was something that would trigger me, I was reading it and I was like, yeah, I cannot read this. Like, this is so utterly depressing. Like, I like when books make me sad, but not like this kind of sad. It's been on my red shelf because I DNF'd it, and I just genuinely do not think I will ever read this. This is just not my kind of book. I know some people love books like this, but I just personally don't want to. And even when I ended up talking about it with Tamiko and Maria, like after the month was over, Maria was like, yeah, honestly, maybe it's a good thing you DNF'd it because it doesn't get any better, like any easier to read anyways. So we're gonna get rid of this one. And then as for this shelf, none of these are leaving. These are some of my favorite books ever, okay? I feel like I'm standing really weird. And then this shelf is also all red books. So let's see if I'm gonna take any from here. Okay, ended up grabbing 2 off that shelf to get rid of. So the first one is Dark and Shallow Lies by Jenny Meyer Sane. I actually just read this. This was in my last reading vlog, which was also the last video I posted. And I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I didn't love it enough to keep a physical copy when I love keeping books that I have read. And so it's a little hard for me to choose books that I've finished to get rid of, but also to make room to add more books as I finish them. So we're gonna get rid of this one. And then some of you really might come for my head on this one, but I think I'm gonna get rid of If He Had Been With Me. I read this in 2023 and I enjoyed it when I read it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I really don't ever think about this book. And when I do think about this book, I often think that I didn't love it as much as I thought I did. So we're gonna get rid of this one because I just feel like somebody else could potentially love on this a lot more than me. All right, moving along. This shelf, we will also not be getting rid of any of these. These are all of my Jennifer Lynn Barnes books. I actually just read Killer Instinct and All In, continued the Natural series, and I am really enjoying it. I think I'm gonna finish that series soon, and I love the Inheritance Games by her. I still need to read The Final Gambit and then continue like that universe, but will not be getting rid of anything by her. And then moving to this shelf, we could probably grab 1 or 2. So let me take a look. Let's take a gander. I'm not gonna get rid rid of the Shatter Me series. I have had the whole series on my physical TBR for a while, but it's still one that I'm very intrigued to get to. I just haven't felt like it was the right time. See, and now I'm looking at all these and I'm like, can I actually pick one from this shelf? Because here's the thing, I own a lot less fantasy books than I do romance, so it's kind of hard for me to want to part with a fantasy book knowing that I already have so little and knowing that I could potentially love every single one of these, because I feel like more often than not, I get more like invested and in love with a fantasy than I do with a romance. So I actually don't think there's a single one on this shelf I want to get rid of. And then this is the Twilight series and I will not be getting rid of that. And then this shelf, I actually do think we can grab one. Okay, so this is coming from my thriller shelf and I already don't own very many mystery thrillers because it's not a genre I read very often because I get scared very easily. But I do think there's one on this shelf that we can get rid of, and that is White Ivy by Susie Yang. I picked this up and added this to my physical TBR probably close to 2, maybe even going on 3 years ago now, and I honestly have not even looked at it once. Like, this has not even crossed my mind of books that I should read. I genuinely don't think about it, don't think I'll ever read it, so we're gonna get rid of this one. And then as for the last 2 shelves over here, this is Makai's Invincible comics, so obviously we'll be keeping those. And then this shelf is also Makai's shelf, so nothing is coming off this one, which means it's basically time to already head over to the romance. I have a few like fantasy books on the middle shelf here that you're seeing, like this small one, but most of it's also romance. Let's go do that. Okay, moving on over to the top portion of this skinny shelf. I honestly feel like this is about to be very uneventful because here's the thing. We have the Rebel Blue Ranch series up top. I really enjoy that series. I've read 2 of the 4 books on that shelf and have really enjoyed both of them, so we're not going to be getting rid of any of those. And then as for this shelf, if you're not new here, you know what this shelf means to me. If you are new here, let me just tell you, this is my favorite series that I've ever read, my favorite books that I've ever read. I have never connected so deeply and wholly to characters and a universe than I have the Kingdom of the Wicked series. And so yeah, we have literally 2 whole sets of the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy here. We have the original black covers, the special editions, and then Throne of the Fallen. I'm waiting to get the Throne of Secrets paperback. I think that comes out this fall. And then Throne of Nightmares comes out beginning of next year. And I will be waiting to get the paperback because I already own all paperbacks. But I even took the time, literally probably 20 hours of my life, to rhinestone the cover of Kingdom of the Wicked. I do plan to rhinestone all 3 black covers. So yeah, nothing is coming off this shelf. Like literally over my cold, dead body am I getting rid of these. And then as for this shelf, this one, I just recently read The Christmas Tree Farm in this universe. I think this is just called the Pumpkin Spice Cafe series. And I honestly really disliked that book. I think I gave it a 2 stars, but I'm still interested to continue the series. And I also don't want to get rid of them for the majority reason because they're beautiful covers. I love displaying them. I think they are so unbelievably stunning. And even if I hate them, they are books that I feel like are beautiful to display for like the different seasons and stuff. So yeah, that shelf is staying like that. I don't know what to tell you. And then moving on to this one, this is probably also going to be pretty uneventful because let me tell you, we're not getting rid of any of my Dragon Ball manga. No, we are not. This shelf, I don't see myself getting rid of any of these books. These are all books that some of these I've read actually, mainly the Ashley Poston books, but these are romance books that are highly anticipated for me by authors that I already really have enjoyed some of their previous work. So yeah, not touching that. And then excuse my phone. Also nothing coming off this shelf because this is just my LC Silver shelf. So we have the Chestnut Spring series and the Rose Hill series. I have not read all of these, but I've enjoyed the ones that I have read. So I'm really excited to continue reading her work when I get into the mood for that. So that was pretty uneventful, but I felt like, you know, we had to go through it. So let's move down. Okay, honestly, this is probably the area of my bookshelves that we are going to get the biggest chunk of books to get rid of. So starting with this shelf, I'm not going to take anything off this shelf. This just has my Magnolia Park series and then Never. I've seen a lot of really bad reviews about Never, so it kind of makes me never want to read it. Ha, get it? Never. Anyways, but guys, this cover is just too stunning for me to get rid of. Like, this is truly one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. I still very may potentially read this in the future, but who knows? But keeping those. As for this shelf, this is a fantasy series that I have yet to start, and I don't want to get rid of it because I do think that I could potentially enjoy it. It's The Night and Its Moon, The Sun and Its Shade, and The Gloom Between Stars. And then as for this shelf on the bottom, this is just all of my like random hardcovers. I've grabbed a couple of these from Little Free Libraries, and I feel like I was very intrigued by them when I found them in the Little Free Libraries, but I feel like that was also just kind of because I found them and they seemed like a good find, but I haven't thought about them since, and that would be The Collected Regrets of Clover. I honestly found this and the other one that I'm gonna grab and was super excited that I had found Book of the Month books in the Little Free Libraries, but yeah, they're just not ones that I think I'm gonna read, so I feel like it would be better to just like, you know, let somebody else have this. So we're gonna go with this one, and then also 5-Star Stranger by Kat Tang. This is also the same vibe. I literally just found it. It was a Book of the Month book. It sounded interesting, and I have since lost the intrigue to read it. Also, just thought I should throw out there that I could try to sell a lot of the books that I'm gonna be getting rid of, but I'm probably just gonna end up going and taking them to Little Free Libraries and putting them in and just filling some Little Free Libraries around me, because honestly, I'm too lazy to go through the effort of selling books when I could just put them in something that I love, which is Little Free Libraries. I love Little Free Libraries. I love going to them. If you're not new to my channel, then you know that I go to them all the time with my cousin Kaylin. So I feel like I would honestly just rather take them there. I'm gonna let my sister go through the books and my sister-in-law before I like go get rid of them. And if they want any of them, they can have them. And then I'm just gonna fill up Little Free Libraries. So yeah, I'm not gonna be trying to sell books that I got from Little Free Libraries is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, now I feel like this shelf is about to really look a lot more empty. This is the first kind of like shelf that I have in the way that I organize them that is romance, that's organized by author's last name. And yeah, there's that, there's 3 books on here I will for sure be getting rid of, and that is this trilogy by Maya Banks. So we have Rush, Fever, and Burn. Now, the reason that I will be getting rid of these is because I've actually read Rush, the first in the trilogy, and I enjoyed it at the time, but looking back on it, I think I would hate continuing the series now because these are very, very smutty, very spicy. When I read Rush, I had a lot of people telling me that it sounded like 50 Shades of Grey, and I honestly have never seen that movie, so I wouldn't know. So yeah, these are super, super spicy, which is just not for me. Literally not yucking anyone's yum. I just personally have kind of grown to learn that I'm not a huge fan of spice. So I'm gonna get rid of this trilogy because somebody else could really enjoy it, and that person is not gonna be me. Oh, this shelf actually has the book on it that made me want to make this video, and that is Credence by Penelope Douglas. I fell victim to buying this at the beginning of my reading journey because it was all over TikTok. Everyone was talking about it, and I still hadn't picked it up years later. Saw a TikTok the other day that bestie Katie posted talking about how this book, okay, the tropes and everything, like what is going on in this book, is a freshly 18-year-old living with her step uncle and step cousins, and she gets it on with all of them. And I heard that and I was like, oh, I will be getting rid of that literally ASAP, because there's absolutely no way that I would read this. I would actually genuinely hate it. So this is the biggest book in this unhaul of that I'm getting rid of. I actually cannot. We're not even gonna waste any more breath on that. Okay. See, there is something on this shelf that I feel like I should get rid of, but that's really hard for me to do because they're so beautiful. But I literally, why is getting rid of books so hard? Okay, we'll come back to that. I do think I'm gonna get rid of Happy and You Know It. This isn't really a romance. I think it's more of just kind of like a general fiction, but from what I remember, it's kind of just giving like rich people drama, and I think like maybe it has to do with like a nanny or something, but I'm just not interested interested in it anymore, to be honest, and I never look towards it, I never think about it, and I just feel like it's taking up space on my shelf that it doesn't need to take up. Let's do that one. Let's do... I really don't think I'm gonna read this either. Okay, so as you can see, we already made a pretty good dent on that shelf. I just grabbed 3 more. I feel like one of the really hard things for me about getting rid of books and taking books off my physical TBR is like this gnawing feeling in the back of my brain that's like, but what if that would have been a 5-star read? What if that would have been one of my favorite books ever? But I have to realize that there is literally millions upon millions of books in the world, and there's no way for me to get to all of them, so it's okay. Anyways, I just grabbed 3 more. I ended up grabbing What Lovers Do by Jewel E. Ann. I ended up finding this at a like used bookstore in Alaska. It has a really beautiful cover, but I don't know, I just haven't really thought about it, and it also says fake phone sex. I don't really know what that means because it says fake, but I feel like that means that there might potentially be smut in this, and even if there's not, again, really haven't thought about it, don't think I want to read it. And then I ended up grabbing Good Girl Complex. This is the first in a series that I ended up reading the second of, which is Bad Girl Reputation, and I didn't really love that book, and I ended up getting this thinking, well, I might as well read the first one and continue the series, but that was like 2 years ago and I don't think I'm going to. And then Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. Just, I don't know, it's not calling my attention anymore. I think I actually tried to pick this up like a few months ago and I just like really couldn't get into it and just wasn't like really vibing with it, so I just think we're gonna get rid of that too. Now I will say, because I'm sure you guys are curious about what books I was saying I potentially want to get rid of on the shelf, is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. I read the fine print and I didn't really love it, but I was still intrigued to continue the series after finishing that book, but that was like probably last year that I read that, and I really haven't thought about it since, but they're so pretty that I don't want to get rid of them. I think for now, because I already made such good progress on that shelf, I'm just gonna keep them, and then the next time I decide to potentially unhaul books, maybe those will go, or maybe I'll finally read them. Maybe this is finally gonna get me to read them. But anyways, nothing coming off this shelf. This is my Lucy Score shelf and I love her writing, so nothing leaving here. And then this bottom shelf, I feel like we're also probably gonna grab a few, so let's take a look. Let's take a little gander. Okay, that's a little bit of progress. Like there's a little section available now, but I feel like we could do better. It's just, this is so hard. Okay, I feel like we're gonna leave this shelf at that because I just literally picked 7 books, which is already a lot given the fact that I already have more than that picked out from the rest of my shelves. But I ended up picking out You Don't Have a Shot by Raquel Marie. This ended up being in a blind date with a book, I believe. And honestly, I feel like I just won't ever read it. It's a young adult, like soccer romance. And I just don't think I'm gonna like it. Like, I just don't know that it's really about anything that I would enjoy. And yeah, I just really haven't thought of it, and it's kind of large, kind of taking up a lot of room. And then Bellegarde, got this, thought the cover was super cute, but don't think I'm ever gonna read it. The Dating Playbook. This is a book that I have had on my physical TBR for probably over 2 years, and I was very excited about it when I got it. However, now, and this could be very bad of me to like judge this book kind of by the cover, but I just get the sneaking suspicion that this book might have quite a bit of spice in it, and that could be wrong. Why don't I just actually look it up? The Dating Playbook spice level. Okay, honestly, I can't find like how spicy it is, but it does say in some people's reviews that this does have like a few explicit scenes. So I think I'm probably right in saying that this is gonna feel pretty spicy, pretty physical based potentially. So we're gonna get rid of it. And then Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire. I read Beautiful Disaster 2023, I want to say. Enjoyed it, but I don't think I'm really care to continue the series, especially with how big these books are. So we're gonna get rid of that. And then guys, really don't come for me with this one, okay? I'm sorry, but I am going to get rid of If I Had Told Her. If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nolan. Obviously, you guys saw earlier I'm getting rid of If He Had Been With Me. I haven't read this. Thought I was going to. I'm not going to. I'm literally not. I don't know why I convinced myself I was going to read this. I'm literally not going to. Lastly, we have A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey and The Island Villa by Sarah Morgan. Just not really interested in either of them anymore, and just don't think they're something that I necessarily feel like I'm going to love, so we're going to say goodbye. But we are honestly making making pretty good progress, as you guys can see by this stack over here. So we have one shelf left. Let's do it. Nothing is going to be coming off my TBR shelf, and then I have a little stack of books next to my TBR cart. Did I say TBR shelf? TBR cart. I have another little stack of books next to my TBR cart, but those are books that I do think I am going to read and like that I'm interested in because they're like newer additions to my shelves. So those will just end up filling the gaps that I have now created when I eventually decide to reorganize, because I'm not doing that today. No, let's go to the last shelf. You know what? Actually, why don't we just do that? Oh, well, you're kind of far actually. Hey guys, welcome to my little corner. Okay, this shelf has mostly romance books that I've read. So if we get rid of anything on this shelf, it's going to be a book that I've read before. Not getting rid of any of my Abby Jimenez books. Haven't read them yet, but I'm very excited to. As for this shelf, actually don't want to get rid of any of these. I've read all of these and I really enjoyed all of them, so I won't be getting rid of them. And then this bottom shelf has my Anna Huang books. I've read all of the Twisted series, which is right here. I do actually think though that I will get rid of King of Wrath. I haven't started this series and I don't think I'm going to, because the Twisted series is pretty spicy. Read those pretty much at the beginning of my reading journey, and all of them are heavily annotated. I absolutely loved them when I read them. Gave 2 of the 4 of them 5 stars, and I would still stand on that. It's just if I were to have read them for the first time at this point in my reading journey, I probably wouldn't have loved them that much. But Past Tiffany did, and I will stand on that, and I will still agree with that. However, with how spicy I know those are, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this series, so we're going to get rid of this. But I do have the Arc of the Striker by her, and I actually am going to keep this one. Not just because it's an arc, I actually am very interested in reading this. It's a soccer romance, her first sports romance, and I feel like even though I know this is probably going to have a lot of spice in it, I could potentially actually really enjoy this one. So we are going to keep that. And now we just have 3 more shelves. What is that? What is... Let's continue. Or I guess what I really should have said is let's finish, because we only have 3 shelves left. So this top shelf, read them all now. As for getting rid of books on this shelf, here's the thing. There's one on the shelf that I genuinely hated the book and I should have DNF'd it, but the cover is so cute. It's literally so cute. So I don't want to get rid of it because the cover's cute. Let me show you. If you are not new here, then you know the lore. You know my dislike of this book. I read this last fall in a reading blog and it had great fall vibes, but I hated our main character. She was so insufferable to me and I just really did not enjoy it like at all. And that is pumpkin spice and everything nice, but look how cute this stinking cover is. I love it. I could get rid of this. I'm not going to. However, there is one book on the shelf I think I will get rid of, and that is The Summer of Christmas by Juliet and Keith Giglio. I just read this summer and I enjoyed it, but yeah, it just wasn't a favorite, not obsessed, and don't feel any attachment to keeping it because I haven't thought of it since I finished it. So we're gonna get rid of that. This is my Emily Henry shelf. We're not getting rid of any of those. And then this last shelf is also all books that I have finished. And okay, from this last shelf, I think we're only gonna get rid of 2, and that's gonna be The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. I actually did quite enjoy this book. It's very cute. It's young adult romance, holiday romance, obviously. It's really cute, really sweet, really fun, but I just don't, again, have any attachment to keeping it. We can spread the holiday joy a little early in the year and go put this in a little free library for someone else to find. And then also Bad Girl Reputation. Again, when I read this, I just wasn't obsessed with it. And mind you, I read this pretty close to like the beginning of my reading journey when I was giving almost every book a 5-star. And I think I gave this one 3 stars. So I feel like that means if I would read it now, it'd probably be a 2. So yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. And we will put this and Good Girl Complex in the same little free library so that someone can potentially have the good fortune of getting 2 books in a series at once. So those are the last 2. Wow, looking at this pile over here, I'm really proud of myself. So we are gonna count them and get them all together, and then we're gonna, yeah. 22, 23, 24, 25. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Honestly, guys, I was really hoping going into this video that I would do as well as I did, but I was, not gonna lie, a little nervous that I would end up not getting rid of as many as I had hoped, because getting rid of books is hard. Like, I mean, maybe not for everyone, but for your girl, it's hard. I've actually never really went through and like unhauled a big chunk of books. Of course, there's been times here and there where I've taken a few off my shelves to go to little free libraries, but never to this extent. We just got 25 books off my TBR. And honestly, I can't tell you how good that feels. Obviously, some of these I have read, but we just got a a good chunk of books off my shelves. We're opening up more space on my shelves for books that are going to come into my life that I'm going to love, that we are going to just read and devour. And I'm very, very happy and very proud of myself for this progress. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys had fun unhauling some books with me, had fun seeing what books I'm going to be getting rid of, what books I'm kind of keeping. Well, we didn't really talk about that, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already, because we have a lot of fun over here and we want you to join the fun. And with that being said, I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Slay, slay, slay. Whoa, okay, whoa, whoa. The Little Tree, whoa. This new album comes out tonight. The Little Tree, what? That is air fresheners. Whoa, whoa, kinda gotta pee, bye.